There we go. How's it going, everybody? It's the week of Christmas, and 2020 is coming to an end. It's actually been going kind of quick the last couple months, in a good way. Hopefully, all of you are doing okay and getting through the holidays and dealing with everything else that's going on in 2020. So today I want to talk about footwear. One of my Facebook friends on my page asked me to give my opinions on footwear and how that affects health and performance. And I think what he was getting at is a lot of people are wearing the wrong kind of shoes for what they're doing. A lot of people are probably wearing running shoes for their daily tasks. Walking around, walking to the store, maybe even in their house. And most running shoes are not well built for that. Most running shoes aren't, in my opinion, aren't even well built for running because they have a narrow toe box that kind of tapers the foot, kind of squishes it together at the front. Has a very high heel. Is very soft. Supports the arch. All of these different things decrease the workload on the foot that it's supposed to do. Like arch support, for example, your foot should be able to hold up its own arch. Now, if you have some kind of a diagnosed orthopedic condition, you might need an arch support, but you should work with a doctor to do that and not just try to, get something at the store on your own. You should get diagnosed for that. But in general, if you don't have any kind of orthopedic condition, your foot should hold up its own arch. The muscles in the bottom of the feet should do that. And if you're supporting it with a shoe that has a built-in support, you are going to eventually lose the strength in the foot to hold up the arch. It's just like a good analogy that the guy from Zero Shoes uses. It's like a cast. If you've ever broken your arm, I haven't, but you've probably known someone who's broken an arm or something like that. And when they get a cast on and they have to wear it for 6, 8, 10 weeks, whatever it is, after they take the arm out of the cast, their arm is really weak and atrophied. And that's because they're not able to move it. They're held in one place and they're supported in that angle. And so the muscles don't have to do anything and they just atrophy. That's how it works. When the muscle doesn't have to work, it just kind of wastes away. And the muscles in your feet are no different. So if your foot isn't having to work like it should, if you're in a minimalist shoe, which is what I'm going to talk about in a minute, or you're just barefoot, then it's going to get weaker. Barefoot is great, but it's really not practical in the world we live in most of the time. If you're like at the beach, sure, you can be barefoot, but if you're just walking around, on the sidewalk, in the store, at your job, you really can't be barefoot practically. And it's also maybe potentially a little bit unsafe because the ground has things on it, that can hurt our feet. So you always have to be paying attention to the ground. So a minimalist shoe, like, hold on, what I got here. I've shown these before. This is a Zero shoe. That's the brand. Well, it's backwards. I don't know why Facebook Live videos do that. But Zero, and I'm not affiliated with them, so they're not paying me to say this. I just like these shoes. But they make a lot of different minimalist shoes that are designed to let your foot move the way it should and be healthier. They don't squish the toes towards the front with a narrower toe box. Like if you're used to seeing that, you don't really think about it. And I didn't for a long time either. But if you look at, I'll show you again. Look at the front of this shoe, and then look at maybe your shoe, like a typical running shoe. And these are much wider at the front than a normal shoe. And the problem with that is it squishes your toes together at the front, and that's why you can get things like bunions and hammer toe, where the big toe, instead of being straight up, it's kicked in towards the pinky toe side. Excuse me. And then obviously that's not good. That changes your gait mechanics. It becomes painful. You can require surgery in that toe after a while to correct it, and it doesn't allow you to move your foot the way it normally does. So you might have difficulty even with just walking, let alone trying to do athletic stuff like running and jumping. So you want a wider toe box. You want something like what the Zero shoe has. There's other brands. that I've experimented with in the past, but I find these to be the most comfortable and a great fit and good quality and things like that. But check out Zero Shoes. Vibram is another one. Merrell makes a thing called a trail glove. Merrell Trail Glove is another good shoe that is a minimalist style, very lightweight, flexible. But also, if you are thinking about this, if you're kind of like, oh, that's intriguing, I want to look into this. If you're used to wearing a thicker shoe that's got a big cushion sole, arch support, all that stuff, and you want to try this, don't try to go from one extreme to the other overnight. It's like going cold turkey. Well, that can work sometimes, but you don't want to do it in this case, because what will happen is you'll end up with a lot of aches and pains in your feet and maybe in your knees and ankles too, because you're used to walking a certain way once you get used to those shoes. And that means if you just change all of a sudden, you're gonna have some issues. So you want to do it a little bit at a time, and that's what I did. I wore more conventional shoes most of the time years ago, and when I started thinking about, oh, I need to do this, I need to change my footwear because it's hurting me, I slowly started doing it. I would wear, at the time it was Vibrams. I wore the Vibrams for a little bit. I would wear them for like 30 minutes and walk around in them, and then I would go back to my other shoes. Over time, I increased the amount of time that I was wearing the minimalist shoes, the Vibrams, and then eventually it was the trail gloves, until eventually that is what I was doing all the time, and I got rid of my other shoes. Sorry, there's a little mosquito out here. So that's what I would recommend for you to do if you want to try this. Do it incrementally, and that's good advice for, I think, for any type of physical practice that you would do. Working out, adding new exercises into your routine, or adding days of working out into your routine. Do it incrementally. Don't try to just add 7 days a week of working out if you haven't worked out consistently for a long period of time. Same thing with the shoes. If you have never worn minimalist shoes, don't just say, okay, I'm going to strap these on and I'm going to do everything in them when you've never practiced that, right? So what else was I going to say? Minimalist shoes. Okay, so I think that covers that. Another topic that I had in mind was the idea of consistency and working out for health. So a lot of people think if they want to be healthy, most people don't have specific goals for their health and fitness, right? Most people think, I want to lose weight, I want to build some muscle, get toned, and I want to just feel better, right? Most people don't have a goal of, I want to be able to do 20 chin-ups, or I want to be able to deadlift 3 times my body weight, or I want to, get down to 6% body fat and get up on a bodybuilding stage, right? And if you do, that's fine. But most people want to look and feel better in a way that is very achievable, I think, through natural means, without steroids, without crazy diets, without expensive supplements. You can fit it into your life in a way that allows room for play and exploration and expression. You don't have to be so rigid. And the idea of consistency that I'm trying to get at is just move your body, just be active, and find things that you like to do, because that's what's going to keep you consistent over the long haul. When you're trying to be just healthy and feel better, you need to keep at it for a long time, year after year after year, and that's how you're going to get the results. If you do a 6-week program or one of these 8-week, 10-week programs, I know a lot of people are on my side of the fence, trainers and business and gyms and things, are going to be trying to sell you guys 6, 8-week, 10-week programs. And you know what? In my defense, if I do that, it's to get you started. It's not to say after this 6, 8-week, 12-week, whatever it is, you're going to be, done, right? That's not what it's going to be like. So, and I will preface that if I do a challenge, just like I did on the last 60-day challenge, which is still going on, it's a way to get started. It's not for you to say, I'm going to do this and that's it. You have to keep going. You have to stay consistent over the long haul. And the only way you're going to do that is if it's interesting, if it's fun, if it's an exploration. You're growing. You can have fun with it, and you stay injury free. You can't get if you get hurt, that's going to really put a damper on things. So these programs that are like, boot camp esque, like where you're being yelled at the whole time, they're pushing you, and being pushed is fine, and it's not. I'm not against that, but if you require that all the time, the extrinsic motivation, somebody else telling you and pushing you all the time, that's only going to last as long as you have that person there pushing you, right? And a lot of people want that from a trainer, and that's okay. But if you don't want to always have to rely on a trainer, and I'm a trainer, and I want to work with my clients forever because I really love my clients and I want to keep helping them. But I also want them to become more self-sufficient. I want them to be able to think for themselves, to plan, to understand what we're doing. And that's why I do these videos, because I want to try to educate people and help them do things on their own. I don't want to always have to just tell people what to do and not have them understand it. It's like the old saying of, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. So I like being a teacher in that sense of trying to educate people. Anyway, so consistency. So think about it in terms of exploration and having fun. Don't worry about don't think like I have to stick with this one program, because there's so many options out there with workout programs, and it can be very, very confusing. There's so much information, and there are these camps, right, of different strategies, different methodologies, and they can all be very dogmatic in their approach. You have people that think, the Olympic lifts are the only way to go, right? Or the power lifts, like people in maybe I shouldn't name them, but I'll just say that people in some certain powerlifting communities think that that's the only thing that you should do: bench, squat, deadlift. I guess that's it. Those are the big three, and that will help everybody with everything. And to an extent, yes, getting stronger will help you, but you don't have to just do that. You can get stronger in that maximal strength sense. I think Zoe's watching, so we were just talking about this the other day. I think he might have got off. But maximal strength, you can achieve that through a lot of different methods. So if you don't have access, maybe you don't have access to a barbell, right? Or whatever piece of equipment that program requires, and you feel like, well, now I can't do that. That's okay. There's so many other ways to achieve pretty much any goal. That's what I'm trying to get at. So you can explore if powerlifting doesn't jive with you, or doesn't suit your body because of your proportions, the available knowledge you have. Like if you don't know how to powerlift and you just try to do it on your own from like watching YouTube videos and stuff, and you don't have any experience that will help you bridge that gap, that might be a really bad idea. And I don't want to say don't try things, but there's certain things that you should get help with, at least at an introductory level, so then you can go out and do it on your own safely, right? You might have injuries to your shoulder from doing something when you were a kid, and now you're trying to bench press and your form's not great, and then you end up destroying your shoulder. So that would be bad. So, but you can feel it right away maybe, and you're like, well, powerlifting is not for me, and you feel kind of hopeless, but there's other things you can do to work on strength for those muscle groups, right? You can do body weight exercises. You can do isometrics. You can use dumbbells, medicine balls. You can do, tricking stuff, like parkour. I mean, there's a million things. You can do different grappling arts. You can do rock climbing. I mean, there's a million things. But if you only look at the world through the lens of the powerlifter, you feel like that's it. And then you might eventually feel like, I'm sick of this, and you give up working out because you feel like that's all working out is. It's just powerlifting. And it's not. There's so much more. There's so much more to working out. Now, bringing it back to my original point, being healthy, losing weight, building some muscle, being able to move well, feel better. You can achieve that through so many methods. So explore it. Don't just think of this one thing that you're being presented with by a person. If you're scrolling through Facebook or if you're Googling stuff and looking at best ways to lose weight or best ways to build muscle, because I get that. I like to build muscle too. I like to try to build muscle. And you come across an article, and it's going to be from somebody who has biases. We all have biases, and they're going to present you with this strategy. Maybe they're a kettlebell guy, and they're going to present this kettlebell muscle building program, and you're like, okay, and they might convince you through great writing and persuasion and showing pictures of great physiques, and you might think this is the way to go. But then you're like, well, I don't have kettlebells, and I've got to go buy kettlebells. And maybe you try kettlebells because you have some at the gym, and you just start playing around, and you don't like it. You just don't like the way it feels. You don't like the way the kettlebell rests on the back of your forearm, and you're like, that it just doesn't feel good. And then you feel like, well, now I can't build muscle. You can. Kettlebells are not the only way. And they're, honestly, in my opinion, they're probably not even the best way. Kettlebells are great, but so do you get what I'm saying? There's so much out there, and through your life, this is another point I want to bring up, and then I'm going to end this video because I don't want it to be a million hours. What serves you right now might not serve you in the future, in a month, in 6 months, in a year, 5, 10 years from now. I mean, you want to work out your whole life, right? This is the idea I hope to instill in people, is that consistency means working out for your whole life, taking care of yourself, and being able to have a high quality of life. Exploring things is not just about exploring things to get better physically. It's about having the experiences. So being able to have a strong and healthy body so that you can go do stuff like take bike rides and hike around in the mountains somewhere where you want to explore, or like my wife and I, we went to Colorado, and we did some rock climbing on real rocks, and we did that because we enjoyed it, right? And we kind of trained and prepared for that doing indoor rock climbing. So indoor rock climbing was a way for us to experience that adventure, and we could have just gone and done that, right? But it was preparation. It was a workout, right, that helped prepare us for something else, something that we could, enjoy and experience as something new and exciting. And your workouts can be viewed like that. They can be preparation for life outside of the gym. I think that's really important. If you only look at working out as what am I doing in the gym right now, and then the aesthetic benefits, like how do I look, it's kind of limited. Look at what you can do with your body because of your workouts, or doing this new type of movement. If I do that, it will allow me to do this, right? If I work on my flexibility, then I could do maybe something that involves more flexibility that I don't currently have. Maybe I could take up like a kicking martial art. If my legs are really tight and I feel like working on my flexibility would allow me to better experience taekwondo or karate or something like that. So that gives you an outlet, so to speak, for doing yoga or something like that. Or if you want to work on your endurance in the gym in a more controlled setting, right? Doing the air bike or running or the rower, and then you take that and you use it to do trail running, in an exotic place that you want to explore. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying to say use training as a way of exploring options of what you like, but also exploring the world and taking that ability that you gain and doing something with it. Do some new adventure, take up a new hobby, and those things in and of themselves are exercise as well, but they help, but you can prepare for them through your training. So hopefully that makes sense. I think I kind of kept my thoughts together, which is sort of tough for me sometimes. But that's it. I don't really have anything else prepared, so I'll just say goodbye for now. And if you guys have questions on anything health, fitness related, or anything that I said, just leave a comment to this video. I'm going to share this video so it'll stay up. And then if you guys comment, have anything for me, I'll come back, I'll read them, and I can do this again and respond to those through another video. So probably won't post another video like this before Christmas, so have a Merry Christmas and stay safe out there, everybody. Take care.